So the trolling motor on the front is just a 29, 30 pound trolling motor. It's got 5 speeds, 3 reverse and 5 forward speeds. A couple things I did though to make it better. First of all, if I want to just move, let's say I just want to move somewhere in the boat, I just turn it to one side, lift it straight up, lock it down, and now it's above the water. So I don't have to tilt it back and take up all my floor space. I can just pick it up like this, go around the pond. When I get to my next spot, lower it down, lock the groove, and bam, it's back down in place. You can stuff this down back through the hole if you're so inclined. The other thing about this trolling motor is the handle extends. So when I'm standing right here at the business end of the boat, I can steer this with my knee, and I can adjust the tension by how tight this screw is right here. So now it's very tight. Then I can just kick it one way or the other with my knee. And now that would be great, but I can't control the throttle. So here's what I do for that. Because a regular foot control trolling motor is way too heavy to put on this boat, not to mention too expensive. So the battery's plugged in, so it's gonna spin. Okay, no, it's not gonna spin. Okay, so now I've got it on forward on 3. This is a foot control, so now I can steer with my knee. And when I step on this button, this is going to spin. And so all this button is a temporary power button, just like the big trolling motor in your boat. So I kick it with my knee to point it, I step on this button to hit the throttle, and when I want to adjust the speed, I adjust it right here, no problem. Now, if I don't want to have to stand on this, I can lock this down like that. Now it's in permanent constant on, and I can control it from here and not have to be standing on the button. So I have 2 choices when it comes to this button as to how I want this trolling motor to work. This little gadget was cheap. Again, I found it online, and it was the easiest way to make the front of this boat more controllable with less hand use. And if you have to use your hand to control your boat, you don't fish very efficiently that way. Fishing is a two-handed sport, so I want to use them to control the boat, or to fish, not to control the boat. That's the front trolling motor. Now, when we come back to the back, this one's a 55-pound thrust trolling motor. And the first one I put on this boat was a 50-pounder, and it had 5 speeds. And the problem with that was even on 1, it was going too fast to fish. So if you were fishing in the back of the boat, you couldn't go slow enough to fish. It was too fast. So this one is infinitely variable. So when I turn it on, I can just keep turning it, and it will go faster and faster and faster and faster, or slower and slower and slower and slower as I turn it. So it's infinitely variable. It doesn't have just the click, 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 click. I can put any speed I want out of this trolling motor, and that's really important so you can control your speed. It also tilts up, so if you want to tilt it up, you can do that while you're driving. I tend to be sitting when I'm driving, although I can drive the boat standing up as well. But that's generally the trolling motor here. I reversed it, so it's made to go on the back of the boat. I just reversed the head right here. So it's made to go on the back of the boat now. And the same thing, I can crack it and just pick it straight up if I want to slide the boat, or of course, obviously I can turn it to the side, push the lock and tilt it like I would normally do, okay? The other thing about it is, with as beefy as it is and with as much power, this boat will go right at 5 miles an hour, 4.8 miles an hour under electric power while the battery's fresh. And what's really important is it lets me get around by having this great big trolling motor, but I have this small, very controllable one on the front to let the boat be very fishable. When I only had the trolling motor on the front, the problem I had, and you'll have with any other boat, is there's not enough keel to keep the back of the boat back here. As soon as you have one back here, keep it pointed in a straight line, it will keel your boat out and keep it from spinning circles when you let off the gas at that end. With respect to controlling this boat, I have almost the same amount of control. I can control it from either end. I can go fast from this end. I can go slow and precise from that end, as I would have in the big Ranger boat. I've been working on a system, and I think I've got a pretty simple system. There's a handle on all 4 corners of the boat. I lock a carabiner right there. Now I have these big rings. I put this through these big rings. I impale the bottom of the pond. Now the boat will pivot, but it won't leave this stick right here. And I've tried it a bunch at this point. I've got it dialed how I want. Now I will find a piece of fiberglass that will actually make a little bit more civilized version of this. But these bamboo sticks right here have been my test piece, so I can test for length. things like that. One of the things I figured out, I left these on the top because they won't go through. So if the water gets deep, you don't drop these through your rings right there, they'll get caught at the top of the rings. Then I can just stow it below deck and it can ride just like that. When I want to stake the boat from any end, I just clip this to whatever end. If I want to stake it from that end, I'll put it over here and I can clip it there, stick it in the ground, and I've got effectively a pole. Catfish guys invented that a long time ago. I didn't invent it. I'm just adapting it for the little tiny boat. Part of the modifications I did to the hull of this boat included putting this drain plug in right here, because these boats don't come from the factory with a drain plug at all. So I bought an aftermarket drain plug kit, cut a hole in the boat, put the drain plug in, sealed it in there really good. I did have a minor leak issue. You can see I sealed it. It doesn't leak anymore. But this allows me to drain the boat just like I would any other boat. Should it get water in it, if it rains or anything like that, it's at the lowest part in the boat. And that was a nice upgrade to the boat as well. If you don't have that on your boat, I don't want to have to turn it upside down to get water out of it. And so this was the easiest way to handle that as well. I think at the end of the day, if I added all of it up, I've probably got a couple $1,000, to be honest with you, in the boat, from the time I bought the boat to the time I bought the Lowrance unit, the 2 trolling motors, the batteries, the wiring, the carpet, and all the other things I put into it. I've probably close to a couple of grand. But let me tell you, it's extremely fishable because I can stand here, I can stand here, or I can stand here. I can stow everything below deck. So all my tackle, everything goes under one end or the other. Without any problem. I can adjust my weighting accordingly. So if I have 2 anglers in the boat, I'll adjust it. If I'm fishing by myself, I might put my tackle into the back instead of the front to equalize the weight. A lot of times I'll just bring my dog and let him ride back here and he'll equalize the weight as well. The boat will ride a little bit nose low if you're by yourself, if you don't do that, but otherwise it rides very level. That was something I was careful about. And it's just an extremely fishable little boat. You can troll out of it. You know, you can cast out of it, you can anchor in one spot and fish, you can do pretty much whatever you want. Also, it's not terribly difficult to get in. Should you fall out of it, you can climb over either end of this boat very easily and get back in it, which is another blessing as well. All right, guys, you look down here and here's my trailer. Now, I don't use this a lot of the time, but if I do need to roll the boat somewhere, instead of just carrying it with 2 people, it's easier to just carry it with 2 people if you don't have to go very far. But if you need to leave the battery and the motors on it and move it around, well, now it's too heavy to carry with 2 people, so I have these wheels. These wheels are on a platform, the boat just sits on it, it sits between the stringers on the boat, and we strap it down with regular tie downs, and that will hold the boat on these wheels, and you can roll it around really easily. Depending on where you put this, I can slide it forward and change my fulcrum point, make the boat even easier to move around, or I can slide it farther back, whatever. You can put it wherever you need to move it. But even little scrawny me, as the boat fully set up like it is, and even with the trolling motors down, I can pick it up and roll it wherever I need to roll it without any problem at all. And I can roll it a good long ways if I need to. And with two people here and the wheels moved forward, you can really go a long ways with the boat. So that's a great thing as well. Again, I don't use them all the time, but I do keep them around for whenever I need to move the boat for very far. Most of the time we just carry it and set it in the water. So when it comes to how I keep my tackle and things in the boat, that's another consideration, because I want to carry rods, a lot of rods potentially in the boat. If I'm fishing by myself, I commonly will have 6. If I'm fishing with somebody, camera guy Tim, he's behind you guys, he fishes out of this boat a ton with me just for fun. Again, we'll carry 2, 3, maybe 4 each in that case. But if you look, I set them down where they're just inside the lip of the deck from either end. So if I'm on the front of the boat, my rods will go this way. If Tim's on the back of the boat, his rods would go this way, and it gives us room to lay them down both sides of the boat very comfortably, and we don't have rods in your way. The other thing you can do if you're in open water and bushes aren't an issue, you can stick the tips of the rods out just a little bit out of the boat altogether, and because the reels handles are sunk below the edge of the boat, they don't fall out. They're not going to fall out of the boat like they would on a flat surface. So that's really important, and they're also not in the way of any of your casting anywhere around the whole boat. So when the motors are all the way down, there's nothing in the way of your casting anywhere, which is a really nice thing to have in a boat this small. One of the great things about this boat is about the same thing as being a pro staffer for a boat when I swap boats on a regular basis. I've built it a couple of times now, so I've learned each time what to make it a little bit better. At this point, if I was gonna do something to change this boat, I don't even know what it is. I'm very happy with the boat and the condition it's in right now. It's been a while. I fished out of it a bunch since I built it this time. As you can see, the carpet's getting aged, but that's okay. We're real here at Fishful Thinker. It's a boat that's meant to get used as much as possible, and we do just that with it. So if I was gonna try to build a small boat like this, I would try to source one of these old crawdads, and they're getting harder to come by, but you can definitely still find them if you get around on the internet. It'd be worth finding one. They make a great tool for this, but I've seen a bunch of other small boats that you can buy online that you can gut the interior out of, and just think the same things through. So use a lightweight deck material, use real lightweight supports, think about design instead of brute force. So I don't want to use heavy stuff to build it. I want to use good design processes so that it's stable and solid, which you have here. The ability to stand is important, which means you need to have a low center of gravity. I can't have any weight up real high in the boat that wants to swing around like seats and things like that. I can sit my butt right here and have my legs right here if I need to take a break or if I want to sit and fish. Having a chair up here is not an advantage in any way, shape, or form. So I'm a big believer that a boat you can stand in. Why do I like this over a kayak? I'll tell you why. I have a kayak, I have paddle boards, I fish out of all of them. I prefer this boat strongly, even though I can put an electric motor on my kayak, because I can move around freely all the time. I can steer it from either end in the boat. I can put my dog and my buddy in here and be fine. So that's why I like this boat better than a kayak, but the single biggest reason, I can stand the whole time and fish. I'm never in a position where I need to sit and fish to control my boat. And that's a big advantage. So the Coleman Crawdad, we get tons of emails, tons of questions every time we put it on TV. It's one of my favorite boats. It was a great project back when we did it, and it's still a great boat to this day.